Valentine's Day cards are a huge industry, displaying everything from cuddling kittens to love hearts. But they weren't always so sweet.
Vinegar valentines, they're insulting, mocking valentines that you would send not to somebody you loved, but you'd send it to somebody you hated. Usually they had a cruel caricature at the top, and then underneath there's a verse, and that really kind of hammers home the insult.
Annabella came across these cards while sifting through an old album she found.
It was full of Valentine's cards of very different kinds. At the front there were the very beautiful, expensive, elaborate ones which were really popular in the Victorian period. I realised it was a stationer's album from about the 1870s, and as I was going through it looking at all these beautiful examples, I came to a set in the back of the album, and they were the insulting Valentine's cards. They constituted about half of all Valentine's cards sent in the middle of the 19th century. They may even have exceeded the pretty, sentimental, expensive ones.
These cards were inexpensive, a set of 4 often going for a single penny, which is around 50 pence today.
One of my very favourite cards is a woman throwing a bucket of cold water into the face of somebody who is pursuing her, and it says, "Here's a pretty cool reception. At least you'll say there's no deception. It says as plain as it can say, old fellow, please step away." She's got this facility to send an image and to send a little poem which she can buy for next to nothing to this person who won't leave her alone. This picture, which is clearly designed to illustrate an unpleasant looking woman, it says, "Why do they call you a nasty old cat and say many things a deal ruder than that? 'Tis from envy, perhaps, of your manifold graces. How would it not please you to claw well their faces?" So she is somebody who's been told that she's old, she's nasty, she's vicious. Here's one of a man who is meant to be stupid. The valentine he's got in his hand shows his head as a donkey's head. It says, "Oh, what a pretty valentine, and so like you, friend of mine, for everyone says you're an ass and other donkeys quite surpass."
They started appearing at a time of great change. New opportunities meant that people were moving up the social ladder, and ideas about what society should look like were being reflected in the insults.
Everyone is fair game. There is a sense of justice that's built into some of the cards, but they're also being sent to people who've got no power. It might be a poor washerwoman. Those people are being attacked, as well as people who might be employers. They're described by card manufacturers as if they're serving a social function, so as if you would send them to somebody who needed to have their behaviour corrected.
The reaction to the cards were mixed. Instances of violence were recorded in the newspapers at the time.
This is from a Scottish newspaper from 1877, and it's about a female fight in a Dundee mill, and the headline is called "The Mischief a Valentine Caused." And the account is of a fist fight between 2 women mill workers, and it's about the sending of a scurrilous lampoon in the shape of what is termed a mock valentine. And they sent that to a young man, and the women who fight over the sending of the card lose their jobs.
And it's because of the message they sent that these mock valentines were almost lost completely.
People didn't want to preserve them, press them into an album, lovingly remember them. They're not ones that have been kind of treasured by their keeper for obvious reasons.
Today, they're a collector's item, with the more valuable ones fetching hundreds of pounds.
From a 21st century perspective, we might look back to 150 years ago and think, oh, well, that's when people knew how to behave. They were kind to one another. And we live in a world where there's this incredible cruelty and online trolls and mudslinging. But in fact, this shows us, I think, that those cruel impulses are very, very long-standing. And these cards, they gave people an opportunity to say how they really felt. And it wasn't always beautiful and it wasn't always polite.